Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. We're going to be going over how the Borgalt seeders work, and we're going to go through exactly how to hook them up, fill them, and how they work. They are quite expensive in the game, so you're going to need about I think like $1.3 million to buy this setup here. They do require 600 horsepower to run for the seeder, so you're going to want to get something that's really big, and in fact 600 horsepower are the biggest tractors in the game other than the Big Bud, which is way over that. But if you're playing with the base game, then about 612, 620, something around there is where it's going to be peaked out. There are two implements to the Borgalt seeders. There is the seeder itself, the cart, and then there is the tank for the seeds. They are obviously two different attachments, so you're going to have to hook them up in the correct order. The seeder goes first, then that guy over there will connect up after that. So let me go ahead and get this stuff hooked up so you can see what that looks like. Alright, so there we go, now we have it hooked up. So when this thing unfolds totally, it's quite large. I mean, it'll cover, I think it's 33 meters or 32 and a half. It's a really big implement. It'll make planting a field such as this guy, as you can see if we on the map, we basically cover 2 squares. It makes it really fast work. So these are definitely not tools for small farms, but we all want to play with the big stuff anyway, so you gotta get there. Filling the guy, let me fold the seeder back up, it'll make it a little bit easier. They are a little bit difficult to fill. They don't work like regular seeders and the other tools that are in the game where you can drive up to the pallets and load it up that way. So you need to have an auger wagon or a belt system, or you can also fill them out of the trailers that the semi can carry over. So in order to do that, you just go in here and open the cover. Make sure you have the correct item selected, otherwise you won't see the option. But once it's there, you can see that that guy unfolds. And there are actually 2 tanks on this particular one. The Borgalt can do both seeding and fertilizing at the same time. So the first time that you open it, you're going to get the seed fill. The second fill is the fertilizer. Now obviously you don't have to fill you don't have to fill the fertilizer. You just have to fill the seed, but it does cut the time that you take out in the fields down quite a bit. And you can do other things like take care of your animals and such with that saved time. So in order to fill them, we're going to go over here and grab our trailer with the seeds. This one is not it. That one has the fertilizer in it. Grab this guy. And like I said, you can do this with an auger wagon or a belt system, or if you have a silo that's storing seeds on the farm, you can also drive this up right to that and fill it that way. But you just got to make sure that the seeds are getting dumped onto the belt system that is already on the seed tank. So we'll go ahead and show this here. If we drive right over it, it should start auto-filling. There you go, you can see that the seed is going down, and we are indeed filling this guy. It has a really large capacity, so when we go ahead and look at that while that's filling, go into seeders here, then there we go. So 45,810 liters to hold. I mean, you can do an entire farm with this thing filled full. And then we'll go and switch to the front tank. So open the next cover, and we'll We'll go grab that other semi-trailer. Okay, and this is going to work the same way as the seeds, guys. So you're just going to go ahead and drive this over that little hopper there, and it should start auto-filling. You might have to dump it out with this trailer. Now, obviously with an auger wagon, this is going to be a lot easier, so that would be the recommended way to do this here, but it does work this way as well. Yeah, there we go. Unload the fertilizer, and you can see we are filling. And there we go, full. Now you see we have all of our seed information pulled up. So we're going to go ahead and close the cover. And we're going to unfold the seeder. Now, like I said, this thing does require 600 horsepower. Of course, that is according to the store. We will also do testing together here very soon to see if we can use lower horsepower items to run this. Now, all this means is you just don't need an extra tractor, but let's be honest, we're going to buy the extra tractors anyway because we want them. You got this thing unfolded, you got to obviously lower the seeder and then turn it on. And it will dispense the seeds and fertilizer quite quickly. As you can see in the bottom right hand there, we are dumping a lot of seeds and a lot of fertilizer all at the same time. But you are covering roughly 10 times the amount of ground as the beginning items and tools that you'd have at your disposal. We got 11 miles an hour for working speed, which is, I mean, I think maxed out for this particular tool. But that's it, guys. We're planting with the Borgalt. Let's go ahead. We'll stop here, and we're going to go grab another tractor here and see how low we can go with that horsepower number. Alright guys, here we are with another tractor here. Let me just show you what we're working with so we can get a little bit of a background information here. So that class that we were using just now has 620 horsepower. So that does, if we look at the seeder, exceed the 600 horsepower recommendation that the store has to run this equipment. Now, you can run larger implements than what the horsepower of your tractor has listed. Let me explain. Sometimes you'll look at the store, especially if you're starting out, that's where this is really going to help you. If you got a 100 horsepower tractor, you can actually run the implements that say 120, 130, all the way up to like 180, I think you can get away with. So like cultivators, for instance, or plows. Plows are one of those things that you need a lot of horsepower to pull the bigger you get, and that horsepower requirement goes way up really fast. So when you're just starting out, you can actually run larger plows than your maximum horsepower, which is listed on the tools. If we go ahead and back out of here and just go take a look, for instance, one too far, plows. We've got, let's see here, this one's 12 horsepower. That's not a good example. But here we go. So 160 horsepower recommendation, you can actually use a tractor that's got 100 horsepower to run this. It is going to do it much slower than a 160 horsepower tractor would do it, but you can use it. So, I mean, your difference here is, like I said, if you've got Pottinger here, this has an 85 horsepower limit, but it's 1.2 meters. This guy is twice the size, obviously requires twice the horsepower according to the store, but if you had a 120 horsepower tractor, you could still run this. Now, this has a working speed, if you look all the way on the right hand side of that information bar there, it says working 7 miles an hour. Okay, the Pottinger says the same thing. Now, if you're using a 120 horsepower tractor, you're not going to get 7 miles an hour. You might get 4 or 5, but that's twice the size as the Pottinger, and you're not going half the speed. You're still going a little bit faster than half the speed. So this would be a upgrade route that you could go. You get the bigger plower first, and then match the horsepower later. So that's just a quick tip there, just to save yourself some time, or if you want to get a bigger piece of equipment, you can do that before upgrading your tractors. Obviously, don't go overboard with this. You're not going to be able to grab the plow that requires 200 or 250 horsepower and still use that 120 horsepower tractor. It just won't move. I've tried that before in the past. But you can go a little bit more than what your tractor says you can. So going back to what we're doing currently, 620 horsepower for the class easily meets that. The Fendt is 517, so it's almost 100 horsepower less than what the implement recommends. Let's just see if it will work. We can turn it on. Seems to have turned itself on. It's still down. So let's see if we can do it. And I can tell you right away, 517 horsepower is just fine. You will notice we are moving at a little bit slower pace than the class was. Like I said, we're like 3 mile an hour slower, looks like. So we're down to 8, but 517 horsepower still pulls just fine. It does look like the tires are losing grip a little bit there. So adding a front weight might help that out. Get those front tires grabbing a little harder into the dirt. So let's go ahead and shut this off. Now, I have a high sneaking suspicion that anything lower than this isn't going to work out, but we're going to try it out anyway. So let me grab the last tractor that we're going to test here and see how we do. All right, here we go. You can never go wrong with a Massey Ferguson. So we've got, if we take a look, 435 horsepower. So this is a little bit, as I was saying previously, overkill. I don't think we're going to be able to run it, but we're going to try it just so you guys don't have to waste the time later to do so. Let's see what happens. Go ahead and hook this guy up, and surprisingly, it still turns on. That might be about as far as this goes, though. So let's let's try it out. Wow. Well, I am thoroughly impressed here. 435 horsepower, so we're almost 200 horsepower down. Again, you can see we're moving at much slower speed, 5 miles an hour, so we're less than half the speed. But again, if you don't have the money on your farm to get both this and that 600 horsepower tractor, you can potentially use what you had. Now I'm curious. I want to see how far down we can go and still be reasonable. I mean, I would say 5 miles an hour is still reasonable. So let's oh nope, I think I shut the tractor off. Okay, let me grab something else here and see if we can run that. Okay, so all we did was reconfigure that Massey again. So if we go ahead and look here, we've got 340 horsepower. It's far, far below what the recommended is. It's almost half. So let's see what happens. I don't think this one is going to work, to be honest with you, but I didn't think the last one was going to work either. So let's see if we can be surprised together. I did also add a front weight to this, just to see if we can get the front of that to stick down a little harder into the ground. It might provide us a little bit more traction. It shouldn't matter because the seeder isn't being supported by the back of the tractor, but we'll add it just to see. Let's see if it even turns it on. Well, I'm shocked. I didn't think that was even going to turn on. So let's see if we can pull it. Fold it down. Yes. As you can see, that didn't work. I think we are actually moving. We are actually moving, but we certainly aren't going to be winning any races with the snails. Trying to do that. Let me take the front weight off and see if that makes any difference. I don't think it will, but let's find out. Testing together. That's the way we're gonna do this. Let's turn that back on. Turn it on. Sure thing. Running. And yeah, still nothing. So looks like that 435 is probably going to be the cutoff, or something really close to that. So there you guys go. That's the Bourgault system. The Seedhawk system is going to work the same way. It's just I wanted to use this stuff because this is the biggest seeder that is in the game currently, at least for the PlayStation 4, guys. With that, let me go ahead and show you just the prices we're looking at for buying this. Just so, like I said, I can save you a little bit of time if you want. We were using this guy, 30.5 meter working width. Like I said, it's the biggest one that we have access to on the PlayStation 4. PC might have something bigger, but for us console guys, this is it. 430,000 for the drill, and then you're going to use the 71-300 air cart with it, 331,000 for that. So you're looking at $762,000 to buy it. It is very expensive, but again, a huge time saver if you can fit it on your farm. Keep that in mind when buying implements for this game here. You cannot buy the biggest and best just because you want to. You do have to still be able to fit it in the field. So you're going to have to make sure you keep your turning radiuses and field ends in mind when you do this. Also your yards or the roads, just driving it to the farm. These things are really big. They don't really fit down most of the space within the wildlands, at least where we're doing our testing. I did have a heck of a time trying to get it to the farm. I was hoping I could actually get it all at once. I had to make 2 trips because it was just too long to get out of the store lot there. That is going to be the end of this video, guys. If you liked it or learned something new in the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe for more tips and tricks on games in the future, and go ahead and comment below to let me know what comments or what tutorials I can go through for you guys. And this will include anything from Farm Simulator, or if there's any other games that you guys want to see that I happen to have in my inventory. I have a lot. Like a lot. So chances are I might have it, or if it's super cheap I can pick it up and do a tutorial on those as well. Let me know below. Like I said, I'm gonna end this video here. See you guys in the next one.